The first time Jimmy Kovac hacked a system, it was to change his grade in Mrs. Henderson's high school chemistry class. He'd felt a thrill then, not from the altered B+, but from the silent, perfect execution of his will upon a seemingly immutable structure. Now, standing in the sterile, silver-plated elevator of the Marina Corporation, he felt a colder, more mature version of that same thrill. The heist wasn't for a grade, it was for a legacy. The ghost, his anonymous benefactor, had promised him that the financial files hidden within Marina's servers were the key to a fortune so vast it would erase a lifetime of being the scholarship kid from the wrong side of town. His external goal was clear: find the Aether Vault, the legendary repository of off-book assets, and steal it. His internal need, the one he refused to name, was simpler: to never feel powerless again. His flaw was the very ambition that propelled him. It was a blinding, singular focus that mistook a ladder leaning against the wrong wall for a path to the stars. For 6 months, Jimmy was the model corporate ascendant. He worked 90-hour weeks, his mind a scalpel dissecting inefficiencies. When a zero-day exploit threatened to leak Marina's client data, it was Jimmy who, in a caffeine-fueled 48-hour marathon, architected the patch. The CEO, a man named Alastair Finch who looked like a retired eagle, summoned him to the top-floor office. "Kovac," Finch said, his voice a low rumble of gravel and authority. He didn't offer a chair. "You saved us a significant headache. I don't like headaches. From now on, you report directly to me. Special projects. You'll have level 9 clearance." Jimmy's heart hammered against his ribs. This was it, the master key. "Thank you, sir. I won't let you down." He expected a fortress, a digital Alcatraz. Instead, level 9 clearance revealed a labyrinth. The Aether Vault wasn't a file path, it was a ghost. He wrote algorithms to scan for encrypted partitions, built back doors into archival systems, and parsed millions of files. He found tax records, internal memos from 3 decades past, and the secret recipes for the cafeteria's surprisingly good coffee. But no vault, no billions. The thrill curdled into a desperate, grinding obsession. The ghost's messages grew terse. "Time is a currency, Mr. Kovac. You are spending mine." After a year and a half, despair set in. He was a ghost himself, haunting the server rooms, his reflection in the dark monitors a pale, hollow-eyed stranger. The ambition that had defined him now felt like a cage. He drafted his resignation letter on a rainy Tuesday, his finger hovering over the send button. He had come for a king's ransom and found only dust. The power he sought had eluded him. 2 days later, the summons came for an off-site leadership meeting at the private residence of the company's reclusive majority shareholder, a man known only as Mr. Vale. Vale's house was not a home, it was a statement. A brutalist concrete structure perched on a cliffside, it felt less like a dwelling and more like a bunker for the end of the world. The meeting was held in a vast, windowless chamber with walls of raw concrete. The air was cold and smelled of ozone and old money. The conversation was a drone of fiscal projections and market penetration. His gaze snagged on the wall opposite him. A single small painting. A dove, exquisitely rendered, but with 4 wings. An anatomical impossibility. It was unsettling. He turned. The adjacent wall held a stark installation. 100 identical polished wooden sticks arranged in a perfect grid. His eyes traveled upward. Hanging from the ceiling by nearly invisible wires was a chandelier, but it was not made of crystal. It was forged from blackened iron, twisted into the sinuous, menacing shape of a crocodile, its jaw gaping wide as if to swallow the room whole. The corporate chatter faded into a dull hum. The dove, the sticks, the crocodile. They were not decor, they were a system, a code. His mind, trained to find patterns in chaos, began to click the pieces into place. 4 wings. IV, the Roman numeral for 4. 100 sticks. C, the Roman numeral for 100. Crocodile. Crocodile. The ancient Egyptians saw the crocodile as Sobek, but the word, the Latin, crocodilus. His breath hitched. The file paths on Myrina's core server weren't alphanumeric. They were Roman numeral coordinates. IV, C, IL, IVC 99? No, the Romans didn't use 99 like that. They used XCIX, but that was too long. Crocodilus. The species code for the Nile crocodile is C. niloticus. The C was the key. The chandelier was the marker. The pieces slammed together. IV, 4, C, 100. The chandelier was the access point. The Aether Vault wasn't a file hidden in the deep server, it was a partition mapped to a physical location, this very room. The code was the room itself. He didn't sleep that night. The next morning, he walked into the Marina Tower, a man possessed. He went not to his plush office, but to a terminal in a disused server closet. His fingers flew across the keyboard, not with the frantic energy of his previous searches, but with the calm precision of a surgeon. He accessed the root directory using his level 9 credentials and input the path not as a string of text, but as a coordinate. IVC room. The screen blinked. A single folder appeared, unadorned, labeled AV. This was it. The climax, the reward for 2 years of his life. He executed the Ghost's extraction protocol. The progress bar filled. He had done it. He had beaten the labyrinth. He opened the vault. It was empty. Not a single file, not a byte of data, just a digital void. A clean, sterile, and utterly final emptiness. A dry, hollow laugh escaped his lips. He hadn't solved the puzzle first. Someone else had already been in the room. Someone else had seen the dove, the sticks, the crocodile. Someone else had taken the prize. Alistair Finch? Mr. Vale himself? The ghost, playing him for a fool from the very beginning? The truth was irrelevant. The treasure was gone. The confrontation was over. There was no villain to fight, only the stark reality of his own futility. The ambition that had driven him shattered, and in its place settled a cold, clear understanding. He had been so focused on the conquest, on proving his own cleverness, that he never stopped to wonder if the game was worth winning. Jimmy Kovac resigned that afternoon. He gave no reason. He cleaned out his desk, which took less than a minute, and walked out of the Marina Tower for the last time. He didn't look back. On the street, the city air, thick with exhaust and the smell of rain on hot concrete, felt different. It was no longer the air of a battlefield. It was just air. He had spent 2 years chasing a phantom, and in the end, the only thing he'd found was himself. A man standing on a sidewalk, his hands empty, but for the first time in his life, not feeling the need to grasp for more. The heist had failed, but the thief was finally and utterly free.